Hey, it's Mark Bergin from Bleav in Steelers. BetOnline.ag lists the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 800 to land Davante Adams. The Raiders receiver has requested a trade. We'll see what happens between now and the November 5th trade deadline. I got to talk about where is Adams headed with Bleav in Cowboys host and former Dallas Cowboys receiver Jesse Holley. It's not every day I get to talk to a former NFL receiver. Davante Adams has requested a trade. Pittsburgh's among the teams potentially get traded to. We heard it all with the Brandon Ayuk saga, which led to his contract extension. Where do you think Davante Adams winds up after the dust is settled between now and the November trade deadline?
It feels like, he's making, what we say the, hey, big head, text to Aaron Rodgers, right? Get back with Aaron Rodgers, because I think after he left Green Bay, you sometimes realize, boy, that I leave something special. So that seems like the right thing that to happen. But then again, you remember that, Kansas City's down a receiver now too. And those are guys who are always willing to push the envelope. They're all in. As we try to say around here, a team like Kansas City will be all in Davante Adams. There are a bunch of teams that I think that will take a chance on Davante. The Cowboys need another receiver, but I there's a better chance of me going out there and being a Pro Bowl receiver than we do to have to sign Davante Adams. They say we couldn't afford Derrick Henry and we can't afford certain things. So I'm sure that we won't be able to afford Davante Adams.
It makes a lot of sense. And I mean, can you imagine that duo, Wilson and Adams on the outside for Rodgers? Be like, hey, Rodgers, just toss it up. And they're going to come down with it.
I mean, at least for a year. I mean, at least give it a go for a year and try to. I mean, there would have to be some contract things because he's owed a ton of money in the next couple of years. But Davante Adams with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or anybody like that, that definitely makes your football team a serious contender. I've even heard talks about possibly Washington. You add Davante Adams to with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, and that now makes a very, very formidable 1-2-3 punch in Washington. And that even makes my hair even more gray having to now deal with a guy like that in our division.
The Chiefs are interesting because he and Worthy would make an interesting combo. I know they've had injuries. Rashee Rice, we'll see how much time he misses, if not the entire season. To go in the division would surprise me, just considering both of those teams play in the same division. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Right.
I've heard the Washington rumors too, and certainly they're off to a great start with Daniels, but we'll see what this happens. And in Pittsburgh, it's just kind of rinse and repeat. I'm of the opinion General Manager Mark Khan and his price didn't budge. And the litmus test I've used, Jesse, was when the Bears in the offseason traded for Keenan Allen. Now, Keenan Allen's 32, multiple-time Pro Bowler, has had some injury issues, but the Bears got him for a fourth-round pick. So during all the Brandon Ayuk trade rumors, it was like, and you see, okay, who's leaking these reports? And it's like, well, they want a first-round pick from him. It's like, great, that's coming from San Francisco directly because of the price point. And so that's what I think about it. And when I saw the reports yesterday for Adams, second rounder, maybe something else as well that you could throw in that trade and you could possibly get Adams. But if the Raiders aren't going to compete this year, and there's a lot of time between now and next month, so you got another 4 games or so. If you're going to be sellers at the deadline, I'm fascinated to see how this plays out with Adams.
Yeah, and Davante, and you can throw in who's one of my favorite receivers in the league, Amari Cooper. The Cleveland Browns have basically said, we're going to make this so tantalizing for anybody that wants Amari Cooper that we're going to move this money into a signing bonus, and he's going to count less than $1 million against your cap this year. And that's pennies on the dollar for a receiver who I think is one of the best route runners in the game. So, if you're a team, and again, you talk about New York, you talk about the Jets, you talk about the Chiefs, you talk about teams like that, the Washington, teams who are willing and ready to compete right now, and maybe even the Pittsburgh Steelers, adding a guy like Amari Cooper to your roster only improves it. only improves it. If you
Puts
can
up
get
1,000 yards every year.
yeah, and
every year.
If you can get him in your roster, that is a playmaker. That's a guy who's going to be open. That's a guy who can still show younger guys in your offense how to do certain things from the wide receiver position. He's one of my favorite guys to watch run routes. He's, he even nicknamed himself the route god, and I'm perfectly fine with that when you watch him run routes. So Amari Cooper being available, again, that's another guy who people are saying, bring him back to Dallas, bring him back to Dallas. And I tell people, Amari didn't leave for business reasons. Amari was sent away for personal reasons, and that's not going to bring him back. That wasn't a business decision. That was him and Jerry, not seeing eye to eye over the COVID situation and the needle and all that kind of good stuff.